So, what the fuck happened? Huh. It was about 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. It was 2 days before Halloween, okay? It was a Thursday afternoon, and I get home from a workout session. It was a nice calisthenics session outside the usual stuff that I do. I worked out well, I got home, and after some moments, I don't know, I started to feel something in my belly, okay, somewhere around my belly button. It was a bit of a pain, not too much pain, but it was a pain that started to manifest itself right there, and it was there. It wasn't pulsating, it wasn't going away and coming back, it was always there. And it felt like a pain that you have, I don't know, when you need to go to the toilet or when you have air in your intestines. So I was like, okay, let's wait. It's a weird pain, it looks like that. Maybe after I go to the toilet, it's gonna be fine. So I had this pain continuing throughout the evening, and then throughout the night I could sleep. It wasn't too much pain, but it was a sensation that was there and was not very nice. I wake up the next morning, I still have this pain. Throughout the day also I could go to the toilet, like everything was fine with me except this weird sensation that I had in my belly, and I didn't know what it was. Actually, I started thinking about what it could be, although it was a bit too early. I was not sure, but I already had some ideas. I went to the internet, although you need to pay attention, because if you have even something little, you go to Google, you might die tomorrow. So pay attention to check, to see what you check on the internet. But yeah, and so what happened? Yeah, that very day, so on Friday, I also went back to Italy. So I'm from Italy, right? And I went back just for a few days to have some little holiday there for Halloween, okay? And still this pain was there. And I was also thinking of some pain that I had in my muscles, maybe, although it wasn't a muscular pain. I usually tend to recognize them or check if it's muscles or not. But I hoped it was some muscle pain. But in fact, it wasn't. In the evening, Friday evening, I also went and had some kind of party, Halloween party. And in that party, I had the possibility to, there was a cage, and you were able to hang and do some exercises. We were like in a disco, so it was that kind of situation, and I did something and I could do it fine. I didn't have muscular pain, but still that inner pain that I had around my intestine, belly button, didn't go away. And it was like that throughout the evening, the night, and then the next day, on Saturday, it was still there. And it wasn't better or worse. It was just there, continuing to exist. And it looked like it wasn't affected by anything that I was doing, or any kind of movement and so on. It was just there. And I also started to feel some other symptoms. Thankfully, not big things, but for example, I had some freezing sensation here and there, and also a loss of appetite, maybe sometimes, stuff like that. And I also started to realize this pain started to move, meaning in the beginning it was central in my belly, and then it started to shift a bit towards the right side of my body, towards the right side, and also going downwards. And the more I felt and realized about how my symptoms were changing, the more I had an idea of what it could be. And I'm not saying 100% sure, I'm not a doctor, but also touching myself on the belly and checking some stuff, then I had a nice idea of what it could be. And if I was right, then the best thing was to simply go to the hospital, because it could have turned into a more serious thing very quickly. So on Saturday afternoon, after almost 2 days from the beginning of the symptoms of the pain, I decided to go to the hospital. So I was in a relatively lucky situation because I was in Italy, my home country, which means that especially with the language, I have no issues. I can communicate easily. So I went there. They did their things and all the blood tests and so on. And then the diagnosis came at the end. And I was relatively happy because at least they could find out what it was. And it was appendicitis. And if you don't know what appendicitis is basically the inflammation of the appendices, which is this tiny organ, this element that you have in the beginning of the colon. I hope it's called like that in English. And it's something, I think I heard 5% of people in their lifetime or in general experience this this sickness. So it was appendicitis, and it was clear, and I was like, okay, then I think it should be operated. When can I do it? Like, can I come back, I don't know, or in a few days, or can I go first back to my country where I live, which is Austria, and then do everything there, which could be maybe a bit easier with everything. They said, no, we need to operate you like right now in 2 hours. I was like, okay. So at least they didn't give me, or I mean, I could have walked away from the hospital, but their big suggestion was to get immediately operated. And I completely understand it, because I know that appendicitis could be fatal if you don't treat it as soon as possible. As soon as you find it, it could get worse. The appendicitis could break, the infection could spread, and poof, you are almost definitely dead. So I was like, okay, we found it relatively quickly. It wasn't swollen too much, but it could have become worse, could have got worse very quickly. So I said, okay, in 2 hours they'll operate. It was Saturday evening, about 8-9 p.m. And I went through all the preparations. They gave me the clothes and they put me in the bed and everything. And yeah, I was relatively quiet. I mean, I wasn't scared or anxious. I was like, okay, it needs to be done. I have no choice. They're gonna put me to sleep in the middle throughout the whole operation, so I'm not gonna feel too much pain, or not pain at all, at least when they operate me. And yeah, I had a lot of discussions or dialogues with doctors, with the doctor that does the anesthesia and everything, just to understand me if I have allergies. I mean, pretty regular stuff, but I felt it was a big thing. Like they were preparing very well, and it was this is one first takeaway from my experience, is that how well and deeply they prepare you and make sure that everything will go well when they need to do an operation. Also when it's relatively, let's say, urgent, not extremely urgent, but it needed to be done as soon as possible. So it was a nice experience. I wasn't too anxious, I was fine. Then I get into the operating room. They put me to sleep. It was very cool to see myself fading out. And then I wake up and I was like, holy shit, yeah, it's done, it's finished. I started to feel some pain in my belly, because the operation, basically what they do, they remove the appendices, okay? They remove, and that's it. And the way they do it, like the new method, it's called something like laparoscopy. Basically, they create 3 holes in your belly, and through 2 holes they insert the tools with which they're gonna operate, and then the 3rd hole is for the camera. So they don't need to open like a big hole in the belly and they look directly. Doesn't work like that. In my case, they could do this laparoscopy. So they just create 3 tiny holes in the belly rather than 1 big hole. And this generally is better for the patient because he or she is going to be able to recover much faster and so on. So, and I think it was a good case for me. I mean, a good recovery. And I remember after the operation, it was maybe 11 p.m. Saturday evening, almost midnight. They brought me back to my room and I was put to sleep. I mean, I fell asleep, or at least in the beginning I couldn't fall asleep, but I was put there so that I could sleep. And I also took a picture, POV, of me in the hospital in the middle of the night. It was about 2 a.m. Of course, it's not easy to go to sleep or fall asleep in that situation. I had pain. I couldn't move a lot. In fact, I couldn't move at least the first hours in the night. I couldn't even put myself on a side while I was laying down on the bed. I had, of course, painkillers, also some heavy ones, but already the next day was fine. I was able to stand up from my bed and I was able to walk a little bit. Of course, it was hard, painful. I needed to do everything slowly, and I was able to start drinking a little bit of water. Then lunch and dinner, they gave me extremely light food, and basically from here it's gonna be like a recovery. So I stayed in the hospital for, I don't know, 2-3 days, 2-3 nights. I went out of the hospital on Tuesday, and yeah, I was fine. I didn't need painkillers anymore. The holes that they did to me for the operation, they were slowly healing and starting to hurt less. So it was fine. And this was 1 week ago that I went out of the hospital, and then I stayed a few days in Italy, and then I was able to drive back to where I live in Austria. So all in all, it was an interesting experience. Now I'm recovering, it's fine, and also next week I will go back to work again. Although I have an office work, I just need to sit at the computer, but it's better if I don't move too much and I have some more days of rest before that. So that being said, now we come to the interesting part of what happens in terms of my workouts, because as you could imagine, I cannot go back to do calisthenics right now because it was hard, a big stress for my body. It's still recovering, and they told me not to do any kind of strong physical movements that could put stress on your body for about a month. Okay, so I think that as of now it's about 1.5 weeks after the operation. For about 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think I will be able to do like a proper calisthenics workout like I used to do in the past, or until a couple of weeks ago. But I already tried yesterday, and I'm gonna do it very often from now on. I will still do workouts, especially at home, very light workouts with light weights. I will do some bicep curls, especially for my back. Some things I will check what I can do, but I will definitely not stop with working out. I will do movement as much as I can without putting stress, especially on my abs and my belly, because that's where the wounds are. And I will do some leg things. So I will work out slowly. Maybe I will tell what I'm gonna be able to do in another video, but this is my thing. And from there I will in a progress go more and more towards getting back to normal with workout and how heavy I go. And yeah, that's mostly it. So don't expect too many videos from me in the next days or weeks, because I'm recovering. I cannot go out, and I will do these short little workouts at home. I also lost 2 kilos, I think, like from the moment of the operation to 1 or 2 weeks after. I measured myself a couple of days ago. I lost 2 kilos. I'm now 69 point something kilos. And okay. It's something like in general good, because I was always trying to lose weight. I think the heaviest it was 78 kilos. So now I was able to lose weight, although I think I lost some muscle. I still see myself that I have muscle, but if I don't train it, I'm gonna lose it more and more. So also because of that, I need to work out at home. I keep my muscles trained. I also take care of the diet. In the last couple of days, it wasn't great, my diet, but especially also because I needed to eat light things, and technically I should still eat like light food, whatever it means. And I also had some struggles the days after the operation or after I got home from the hospital. I didn't know what I was able to eat, so I was always asking AI, can I eat this? And it told me yes, no, it has too many fats and so on. But I think I've already eaten a good variety of food, to the point that I'm confident that unless it's something extremely heavy, like some fried stuff that maybe I still want to avoid, but most of the food I should be fine. And so it's good with that. I will start or continue eating my proteins, maybe do little workouts, and yeah, that's gonna be it. And this experience also, as a final note, the psychological effect that it had on me. This is something that it impacted me not too much, but it made me realize that you can, go work out, do your stuff, and do everything fine. And at some point, your health might decline extremely rapidly at any point, like randomly. Like it happened with me. Now, it wasn't too big serious thing for me. It could have become worse, could have got worse, but it wasn't worse, at least in the beginning, or in my situation in general. There are much more worse things that could happen to someone, okay? Mine was urgent, but it was calm, and it was easily solvable, and it is solved, and now I'm recovering. But still, it makes you think of anything, boom, can happen, and it kind of changes a little bit how your life is going. And it could be temporarily, thankfully for me, or it could be for a much longer period in your life. So always appreciate and try to keep yourself healthy, and appreciate the fact that you're healthy and you don't have any issues. Because if you don't have any issues, you might think, I'm healthy, what can happen to me? Well, anything can happen to you, even if you're healthy 100%. Now, of course, if you're healthy, eating well, working out, the chances that something bad will happen decrease, but still something can happen. Also, in my case, appendicitis is not something that's caused by something. I mean, yes, there are some causes, but they're way above my control. I cannot control if I get appendicitis or no. I mean, I can say this for most of the diseases, but for this specific one, I cannot do much to prevent it. I cannot do anything. It just happens. And there are some factors, also a bit of, I think, genetics. And I also had some relatives that had the same issue. So it could also be because of that. But in my case, if it happens, it happens. And again, thankfully, it wasn't too urgent. or it was urgent, not too severe, and it was easily solved. So it makes you appreciate. And then after this experience, you know, I will maybe take care more than I ever did about my health, and I will appreciate the fact that I'm relatively healthy, that I can go and work out, I can move, and all this kinds of stuff, right? So yeah, that was it. That was my update video. Let's see what's coming next. Maybe I will maybe even do a video of me working out in home, in my house with I have a few dumbbells and some other stuff. Again, very light thing I will do, but let's see. Yeah, this was my experience. So see you in the next video.